what's going on, everybody, and welcome to Gotta Cast 'em All, a Pokemon podcast. I am one of your hosts, David, also known as Wolfstalker25, and we have Major Gains Andrew here with me as always. So,
What's going on?
how you doing, Andrew? What's going on this week in the world of Pokemon for you?
Well, I'm doing fantastic. I'm getting hyped. The Crown of Tundra is coming out relatively soon. It is 10:15 as of recording this, so it's coming out with about less than 2 weeks. About right? I'm horrible with
Uh, yeah.
math.
Next Thursday.
Okay, so yeah, I'm getting hyped. Next Thursday, it's coming quick. So I'm currently going through my copy of Sword to get back because, like I mentioned on last week's, or not last week, sorry, we weren't here last week due to
Yeah.
my personal life. But the following week, I was talking about how I transferred everybody over to Pokemon Home and then restarted my game instead of making a new account on my Switch like an idiot. So now I have to replay through the game to get to the DLC Isle of Armor first, play through that, beat that, and then get Crown Tundra. I always say Crown of.
Crown,
I don't know
yeah.
why, but Crown Tundra.
uh,
So I'm going through, having a blast playing through Pokemon Sword again. I got a great team going. I'm having a lot of fun. So what about you, David?
I'm doing okay with it. I really this week for Pokemon, I've just kind of been like sitting around with it. I haven't played any of the games. I made the mistake of, as I said last episode, how I dropped the Pokemon cards. I bought Pokemon cards this last week, so
Good, good.
I've been reorganizing all those, and I'm hating every bit of it, but also loving it at the same time. So,
Oh, I know.
but the games, I'm just kind of waiting. I want to play some. Actually, I played a little bit of my Leaf Green playthrough I was doing.
Hey, there
So
you go.
I have a playthrough with all the games where my goal was to beat the games with a team of Pokemon that my friend set up for me as like a challenge going through it. It's not a Nuzlocke or anything, but I was going through and the whole goal was to beat the the league with it, get the ribbon that you'll get, and then transfer them to another game. So
Yeah,
like I would beat Leaf Green, transfer the team to like Emerald, beat Emerald with like whatever team I use there, but then beat the league with the Leaf Green team as well as the Emerald team, then transfer both of them up to like Diamond, Pearl, or Platinum, beat that league, get the ribbon,
yeah,
transfer up to like Black and White, which I think I could skip because there's no ribbons there, into I think X and Y. Yeah, X and Y, and then they have to go to Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, and then Sun or Moon or Ultra, and then they could hit Sword and Shield. So I'm doing a whole journey with them,
that's
but
so cool.
I kind of dropped it for a little bit, but power went out the other night, so I was like, well, I have nothing else to do, so I grabbed out the DS and started playing
Yeah,
Leaf Green again. So,
I don't blame
but
you. And hey, man, Fire Red and Leaf Green, those games are so much fun.
yeah,
Really, really great remakes of Red and Blue.
they're good. I still they're probably my definitive version of Kanto that I would want to play over like Let's Go or original Red and Blue. So I kind of wish we had a virtual console for them, but I mean
Yeah,
maybe one day.
maybe. I mean, who knows?
But okay, so today what we're gonna talk about the future of Pokemon next year. There's a ton of rumors, ton of leaks. None of this is true. It could be, couldn't be. We don't know. So
Take everything we say with a grain of salt.
yeah, so all this info, I've pretty much looked over the place. We have a couple links to a couple sites for some stuff about the Diamond and Pearl stuff, but a lot of the info I got was from like A Drive's videos. I just kind of went through, looked through the past couple of his, and started just putting down info and notes. So I guess the first big thing we'll talk about is the potential rumor of Diamond and Pearl remakes next year.
Yeah.
What is your thought on them possibly remaking them for next year?
Okay. I am hyped because I feel like Diamond and Pearl and Platinum, they have potential to be really great games. There are a lot of really great mons that came from the fourth generation, and a lot of them are ones that I use on like some Wi-Fi competitive teams, especially on like Showdown and stuff. So it'd be really great to get them back into the limelight and show everybody how great the roster was for Gen 4. Now, I wasn't particularly the biggest fan of Diamond and Pearl. I thought the game was kind of slow. I wasn't a fan of the rival. I just kind of thought his
Yeah.
dialogue was cheesy and stuff like that. But I really like the world. I like the layout of Pearl and I like the layout of Diamond. And that's what I liked a lot about Platinum is it obviously being the third one in the series, it always we all know the third one is always the best one because it takes
Yeah.
the
It's
best
like the
parts of
complete
both.
game.
Exactly, 100%. It's the complete game. So Platinum, I really enjoyed. So I'm really looking forward to going back to Sinnoh and just having a great time. And especially if it's going to be on the Switch and it's going to have, it's going to be running in the Sword and Shield engine and stuff like that, and it's going to look better than Sword and Shield, which I truly think Sword and Shield were gorgeous games. So I'm just genuinely excited and hyped. And I mean, what's not to be hyped about more Pokemon, And
Yeah.
let's go, baby! I'm so ready for these.
So yeah, I mean these games they came out initially in 2007 in
Yeah,
America. So it's been well over the 10-year anniversary for these
yep,
games now. So it's like I think it's pretty much due. Um so the rumor says that pretty much that they're leaked to be called, I believe this is like the name that they're going by is Max Diamond and Max Pearl.
yeah,
Um, their rumored release date is 2021 November, I believe,
yeah.
which makes sense. Pokemon has
Oh
been typically releasing in Novembers for the past couple releases. I think Sword and Shield, Ultra Sun and Moon, Let's Go, probably Sun and Moon, probably X and Y, like all of them have been, I believe, November releases. So it's like it makes sense that they're doing with that November right before Christmas launch time.
yeah.
So that makes sense. It's saying these games are going to have Gigantamax forms again. It's going to be using the
Yeah,
same Dynamax feature as Sword and Shield. So, and the only other really info that they have that was leaked is that these specific Pokemon are going to get Gmax forms, which are
right.
the starters for Infernape, Empoleon, and Torterra, and then Luxray, Mismagius, Garchomp, Claydol, Mantine, Dragalge, and Floatzel. So kind of interesting.
Yeah,
It's weird though that some of these Pokemon are currently in Sword and Shield and they weren't given Gmax forms in this game. I guess maybe they just wanted to wait because that was the
right.
same thing like with Megas and X and Y. There were certain Pokemon that didn't get them, but they got them in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. So I guess
Yeah,
that's kind of along the same lines as maybe they just thought of the idea later for them for that specific
right.
Gmax. But I mean, with the games though, I guess like if they do implement a Gmax here, how hard would it be just to implement an update for Sword and Shield just to allow that Gmax in there? I mean, I don't think it'd be that hard,
Oh no,
probably.
not at all. I could
Especially with
definitely see them doing that.
their new digital age of updating games now. I mean, like we couldn't see that in Sword and or X and Y to Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. So like you had all this Pokemon that couldn't transfer back because they had uh megas or whatever in there, so you
Right,
couldn't do the megas in
exactly.
there. So all they'd have to do is probably do a little update patch and be like, "Hey, look, here's your Gmax Claydol and Sword and Shield," which is actually kind of
Yeah.
cool. But yeah, these look pretty interesting. What's your thoughts on all the Gmax forms? Who's your favorite? Which one are you kind of not caring about?
Well, to be honest, my favorite is Garchomp. He is
Yeah,
near and dear to my heart. He is definitely someone who's always on one of my Wi-Fi teams, depending on what, tier I'm playing in, whether it's, I can't remember exactly what tier he's in, like OU or NU or anything like that. But if I'm playing just like free rules, I always use a Garchomp. So the fact that my boys get the Gigantamax form, let's go, baby! Like I'm so hyped about that. But Floatzel, why Floatzel? That
it,
when I was reading the list and I saw Floatzel, I was like, was there really like, is that Pokemon that popular, or am I just missing something here? Like, what's going on with that? What about you? What's your favorite out of this list?
uh, Garchomp's a really high up there one for sure.
Yeah.
Garchomp is one of my favorite Pokemon. Probably like top 30 favorite, but like
Oh, for
I,
sure.
I like it a lot. Um, so that's a good one. But I like Luxray. I like
Yeah.
Luxray a lot. Luxray has always been one of my favorite Gen 4 Pokemon, just because it's a cool electric type black and blue color scheme, which is
Yep.
awesome. Cat. So that one's a cool one. So I'd love to see what they do with the G Max form for that.
Right.
Um, honestly, the one that's like a weird one to me is like Miss Magius. Like the fact
Bro,
that we see
I knew you were gonna say that.
The fact that we see that one on here and not Honchkrow as well kind of is weird. You think we'd see them both in the leak list? So if one gets it, I'm assuming the other is gonna get it.
Yeah, I could see that.
I could totally see if they do Gmax forms here. I totally see if there's more that they're doing besides these. I could see
Mhm.
Honchkrow coming in. I could see Skunk Tank, I think is its name. I might be saying something there and putting an extra letter in or missing a letter, but
Yeah.
that one and then Perugly. I could totally see those ones getting Gmax forms as well.
What about Electivire, Magmortar?
Those would be cool. I think
Yeah,
I
and
think we
even
could possibly see those.
Magnezone.
That'd be
Because
that'd be a cool one.
there's such a love for the Kanto Pokemon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're just Kanto Pokemon with third evolutions now, thanks to fourth gen. That's what I'm talking about. Going back to what you're asking me about Diamond and Pearl, not to go off a tangent, but like they took some of my favorite Pokemon that I was always like, man, I really wish these guys would evolve these Mons. And then fourth gen comes out, and they're like, hey, we heard you. Here's Magnezone. Here's Magmortar. Here's Electivire. So I would love to see them with Gigantamax forms too.
Yeah, that'd be super cool. The one thing that kind of disappoints me about the Diamond and Pearl leaks is I when I was picturing originally envisioning Diamond and Pearl remakes in my head, I wanted to see them with megas instead of
Yeah,
Gmax. So I'm totally down for them to remake the games. I really want them. They're long overdue. They're next up in the list for remakes. But I kind
yeah.
of wish we were still in the Mega era instead of the Gmax D-Max era, because I would have loved to
Yeah.
have seen like Primal Dialga and Palkia and Garantina and like some awesome like. Did you did you play Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire?
So I did, but I didn't complete them because honestly, I didn't like them putting megas into it. I mean, it made sense with Steven Stone, like that's his last
Yeah,
name, and Mega Stones. But I wasn't honestly the biggest fan of Mega Evolutions. I know it's
yeah,
crazy, but so I was kind of turned off by it when I was getting into the game more in the story, and I realized what was going on. I was like, eh, which is shocking because Sapphire is like my favorite Pokemon game to this
yeah.
day.
So, since you haven't beat them, do you know about the Delta episode at the end, at least, of the game?
No, I don't think so.
Do you want to know about it, even though the game's been out for years? Is it considered a spoiler, or are you ever going to go through it?
I'm you could It's not a
Okay.
spoiler, don't worry. I
So,
could Google it if I wanted to.
Delta episode at the end of the game, you beat it. It had a story that was pretty much like they did Emerald in the remakes without doing an Emerald remake, where they had a
Okay.
story about Rayquaza, whatever, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the game, you actually got to fight and capture Deoxys in there, a mythical
Hey,
Pokemon.
really?
So my thought is, if they do these Diamond and Pearl remakes, will they do a Delta like episode in them, but like a Platinum episode? But at the end of it, maybe you get to capture Arceus or Arceus, however you want to say
Yeah.
that one as well. I think that'd be super dope. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you ever did those back in the original Diamond and Pearl, those events, like if you used a Game Shark to get it or went to them. But that event with Arceus at the end, where you go up the, I think it's Spear Pillar, and you go up that big set of stairs after you play the flute, and then you just find him up there. That was super cool. So I would love to see
Oh, yeah.
something like
Awesome.
that.
I remember doing. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think these are cool. I'm looking forward to them if they do them.
Right.
But I would have loved to have seen that mega style with these instead. But I'm still down for the Gmax forms because Gmax Dialga and Palkia I think will be sick.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I mean, kind of going off these GMAX forms and stuff like that, it makes sense going off the hype of Sword and Shield.
Yeah,
I understand why they would include GMAX, evolutions. I mean, that's Alpha Ruby and Omega Sapphire included Megas because they were a part of that generation. They
yeah,
came out
they're
right after X and Y, so it
yep.
made sense for that. And I totally see them doing this. How do you feel about the names like Max Diamond and Max Pearl? Do you like that?
I don't know. I feel like see that's why like the names to me are like that could be legitimate. Like that's not too far fetched from Pokemon to name it
Right,
Max Diamond and Pearl being in the same series as Sword and Shield. So, but at the same time, it's like those almost seem like a cop out for a leak. Like, could the leak be false
yeah,
because of those names? Like the
right,
Pokemon that they picked for the leaked megas, it's like Luxray makes sense, and that's an easy one. The starters make sense, they're obviously going to get it. Garchomp makes sense, big Pokemon.
Oh
Mismagius
yeah,
makes sense, another Gen 4 Pokemon. Floatzel, weird, but makes sense because it's not a under like it's a big water type to use in that gen. The weird ones are Claydol, Mantine, and Dragology. Like, why
yeah,
did those three get picked? Those
yeah.
seem so out there that it's like that makes me think it's not a leak because who would pick those three Pokemon of anything?
Right,
So, like, it makes me think it's not like a fake leak. It makes me think it's got a little bit more credibility to it because it's just those are so weird.
right. I actually just went to Cerebi to look up Dragology because I don't even. Okay, so it's from Sun and Moon. That's why I don't really have a
Uh,
lot of.
X and Y.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
my bad.
X and Y.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just on the Sun and Moon one. Okay. Yeah, I was like, what is this? I don't even remember this Pokemon at all.
It's the evolution of Skrelp. It was one of the um version exclusives to Clawitzer and Claw Launcher.
Okay.
So kind of cool Pokemon. Poison Dragon. I think it's the first of its typing, so
Mhm.
it was a cool one. I don't know
Yeah.
how
Looking at its.
I think it's decent for competitive too. It was okay.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I'm looking at its move list and everything like that. It sounds like it would actually be very good for competitive play.
So cool Pokemon though. Cool
Oh yeah,
Pokemon, which
this
makes it
looks dope.
that's one though on the list that's just like it makes me think it's real just because who would put that on there for a Gmax form? Like why
Right.
would it get a Gmax form? But so I don't know. Interesting. I'm down for it either way. I think Diamond and Pearl remakes are long deserved, and I'm totally gonna play them and get both of them day one
Oh,
because
absolutely.
that Gen 4 is I have such a hard time saying what my favorite gen is, but Gen 4 I have so much nostalgia and love for just because that was the first game that I put like a heavy amount of time into after Sapphire.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of fond memories of playing Pearl version. Even though they weren't the best, I still loved it. And I love that the effort that they put into the legendaries in that generation. It's like they had so many of them, and a lot of them had a lot of backstory to them.
Yeah.
Especially Regigigas, which I thought was awesome. So it's like there's a lot there. But so I guess moving on, what do you want to talk about next? You want to talk about that third DLC rumor, or you want to talk about
Yeah.
Gen 9 rumor?
Let's do the third DLC really quick because I don't really know too much about it, and I know you've looked into it, and you can kind of tell me about it, and I can give you my thoughts and opinions.
Okay, so rumor third DLC for Sword and Shield. I think it's a high possibility.
Hmm.
With this DLC releasing in October, I totally could see them launching a spring or summer DLC right
Yeah.
before whatever potential games they do, especially if it's a remake. I could totally see a third DLC. These two, uh, yet again, like we said with everything else, no possible like they're not 100%, so we don't know. They could be just false. But
Yeah.
the first one is rumored to be named the Cinder Citadel. Um, it's supposed to be a Pokemon Day Shadow Drop, which I believe Pokemon Day is February. Yeah, February 27th. So that would be a
Yeah.
February 27th release, which is kind of early. That's not early spring. That's like what, end of winter?
That's end of winter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Almost spring.
end of winter, which I mean isn't out of the question, but I think it's too soon between Isle of Armor and like how the Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra have. I think that's too soon of a date. But Shadow Drop release for Pokemon Day. It's supposed to be a massive wild area, fully empty castles and ruins for you to explore and go through.
Okay.
There's new Galarian forms of the Sinnoh starters, which we just kind of talked about.
Yeah.
The Hitmons, not Tyrogue, are supposed to have Galarian forms,
Okay.
and Bisharp. So
Hmm.
interesting choice there.
Yeah. Very, very actually.
There's supposed to be new Gmax forms for the Galarian Sinnoh starters and the Citadel Legendary. So interesting that they're gonna make Galarian Sinnoh starters and give them Gmax forms, but not the original Sinnoh starters, which they could be saving for their Diamond and Pearl remake.
Right.
So
Okay.
interesting. Um, the
Very.
the Citadel Legendary is based off a Welsh dragon. It's supposed to be rock and dragon type, and it says it becomes just dragon with its Gmax. So I'm
Okay.
assuming that's typing when it Gmaxes, it's only dragon, so it loses whatever rock weaknesses it would have.
Yeah.
And then it says the wild area is fairly small. It could be 70% of the size of the Isle of Armor. And it says there are daily layout changes to the ruins and castles. There are 4 castles and several small one or two ruins, and it says that's where you'll find the unknowns. Which
Oh, okay.
the unknowns we don't currently have in Sword and Shield. The funny thing about them is though, is hidden power was removed from Sword and Shield, which is the only move that they could learn, I believe.
Yeah, it's 100% the only move they can.
So not having that move makes me wonder if they did reintroduce the unknowns in this game, what would their move be? Would they actually give them something else like psychic or confusion or something? Or would
Yeah.
they reintroduce hidden power with that DLC if they do it?
That I don't know, like what why would they get rid of hidden power then if they planned on eventually releasing unknowns which from all the way back to gold and silver in the,
Yeah.
late 90s early 2000s have only had hidden power. Why then get rid of hidden power in Sword and Shield just to reintroduce it? Like I feel like I don't think that's going to happen. I can't see that happening. I don't know why they would go through the trouble of deleting it, removing it,
Yeah.
and bringing it back. That one seems a little far fetched.
The only thing I could see about the hidden power portion would be is maybe they retooled it to make it a little different. Because I think
Okay.
hidden power, how I don't know exactly how it previously worked. Was it just every Pokemon just had a hidden power that was just a random type that it did or something like that? I think
I think so.
it's something
I
along
Yeah.
those lines. So it's like I don't know if there was a way to tell what hidden power type that Pokemon had, unless there was
Right.
some way of like testing it. I'm not really sure, but I mean, what are for all that info? What are your thoughts on the Cinder Citadel
I
potentially?
like the name. I like alliteration. So Cinder Citadel. Whoa, I almost said Cinder Splinter Cell. Cinder Citadel sounds cool. I just love the way it just sounds. I like the idea of going to ruins and stuff like that, and finding some like dark Pokemon, some ghost Pokemon, stuff like that. I think that'd be really really cool. They could introduce some Pokemon that we still haven't gotten in Sword and Shield. That'd be a
True.
really great way to give us some of those ghost types. I think it's really interesting that it would be uh, Galarian forms of the Sinnoh starters. That's awesome. I really, really like the Galarian forms of almost every Pokemon that we got
Yeah.
in Sword and Shield. I love Galarian Slowpoke and Galarian Ponyta. Those two right there for my examples.
Yeah.
I think those are really great. So I would be very, very excited if I had a Galarian Torterra because
That'd be
Torterra is
sick.
my top like 5 favorite Pokemon of all time. So I forgot to mention that earlier about Gigantamax Torterra. I know I said I was most hyped for Garchomp, but I've been sitting here thinking a lot. I think I'm more hyped for a Gigantamax version of Torterra because that thing is already awesome.
It'd
So,
be an even bigger world turtle. It'd be
oh my
sick.
gosh, that'd be so cool. I'm getting so hyped talking about this right now. So I think it would be really interesting if they did give us the Galarian forms and then they have Gigantamax Galarian forms and then going on and giving us the remakes of Diamond and Pearl and giving us just the regular Sinnohs with Gigantamax version. So then how would that work? Would you like, so they would both have Gigantamax forms, like the
Yeah.
Sinnoh version and then the
So
Galarian
I
version?
would assume they would look just whatever the Galarian form looks like, just like put it on steroids pretty much, and
Yeah,
then do the same thing with the Sinnoh versions. They would just steroid them up and make them look crazy. So it'd probably be like how Snorlax has that giant tree on his stomach. You'd just
yeah,
see Torterra get massive and the tree get bigger, and who knows what else they'd do with it. Um, my biggest thought on these Galarian forms for Sinnoh starters is they haven't done a different form type for starters yet. They had Alolan forms in Sun and Moon, and they didn't do any
yeah.
starters. They haven't done any starters yet for this for anything in Galar either for Sword and Shield. So it's kind of like a would they do this type of thing. I don't
Right.
think it's outside of the realm of possibility, but it's also kind of like this is the first one that they're hinting at, so it's kind of weird, like just because it's new.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I also would understand why they would do it to the Sinnoh starters, and
yeah,
because you said how they haven't done it to any of the other starters previously. Excuse me, I had to burp. But I can understand doing Sinnoh because you start to build hype for the potential Diamond and Pearl releases.
yeah.
Like that's why I can see them picking Gen 4 starters and doing it like that.
Yeah, I can totally see that too. For these, just because it makes sense. Like I think a third DLC for these games is a high possibility, just because it gives you that chance to finish off and round out the rest of the Pokedex and give people what they've been asking for, a completed
Yeah.
Pokedex for Sword and Shield, which I
Right.
think we had 400 in the base game. I think both these DLCs were supposed to add in somewhere around 100 each.
Okay.
So that's about, I mean, that's a little over probably 600. We have about 900 Pokemon so far. There's probably about like 80 newish ones between Sword and Shield. So it's like, that's, I mean, there's probably about like, I would say 300 to 400 still missing. So it's a
Yeah.
good, I mean, it's a high possibility they could just cram in the rest of those into here. It's not
Right.
impossible, but it is a stretch still.
Yeah.
But so I guess let's talk about the other one. So
Yeah.
other rumored name is called the Jungle of Jewels. It's supposed to be the home to the Pokemon called Zarude, which is a mythical that they just announced that came out with like the most recent Pokemon movie in Japan.
Okay.
Um, it'll bring back various mythical Pokemon events. The legendary is an alligator crocodile and is a
Whoa.
rock dragon type with jewels on its body. The jewels are called max jewels, and they can be used like mushrooms in the Isle of Armor at an NPC to G-Max Pokemon that didn't have G-Max forms yet. One of them being Hydreigon.
Okay.
The wild area is about one half the size of the Isle of Armor with ocean parts. I don't know if that's saying that this DLC is going to have ocean parts or it's saying the Isle of Armor with its ocean parts there. So it's a little confusing. It says this DLC is supposed to be $20 for just this one, which I could see. I guess the 2 pack of the DLCs is 20 a piece. So if this is bigger than the Isle of Armor, I guess you consider as $10, and Crown Tundra is maybe 20, because Crown
Yeah.
Tundra is supposed to be bigger. So I could see that. It says this DLC will bring back the rest of the Pokedex, and will
Okay.
also add a new mythical Pokemon, a Grass Fire type Tiger Pokemon, which is the natural predator of Zarude, which is the reason why it became a Grass Dark type. It says the announcement for this is supposed to release or the announcement is Pokemon Day, and it releases summer 2021.
Okay. So interesting. 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 I just I don't know. I can't see them giving us the entire Pokedex, like every single Pokemon being in one game. I just feel like that's way too much, in my personal opinion. I could be wrong. I mean, I know there's people out there that want that, but I don't know. That seems like a lot. Uh, sorry, I'm getting distracted by Celtiverse in the chat. He said this is the fakest news I've ever
Yeah,
heard. But nonetheless, I would be really excited. I think I prefer uh the Cinder Citadel, honestly, over
yeah,
this one. But this one sounds a little more legit because, like you said, we've already been introduced to this mythical Pokemon in the anime in Japan, right? You said
yeah.
it was from the movie, so we know this Pokemon is real. It's gotta get put into Sword and Shield somehow, and why not do a third DLC? You know what I mean? But coming out so late, like summer, like that, and then to put out a remake of Diamond and Pearl, that seems a little weird to me.
Yeah,
I feel like if they were gonna put out the third DLC, it would be March, April, maybe, not
that's
summer, and then they wait 6 to 7 months
that's
and
what
we
I'm
get the
thinking
November
too.
thing. Yeah,
I find it funny though with these two DLCs though is that they both mention their announcement. One releases Pokemon Day as a shadow drop. One says it gets revealed Pokemon Day.
yeah,
So it's kind of funny that they're both playing off of Pokemon Day, and both of them seem to have this dragon rock type legendary as their thing. One being an
yeah,
alligator, one being a dragon. So that there kind of is like, is that just people piggybacking off each other, or is that them like actually going off of something? And does that make this credible then? Because there's
right,
2 leaks now with Rock Dragon. Is that just people just throwing things at the wall and being like, "Hey, this is a thing," or is there
right.
something actually to this? I I mean, I'm leaning a little bit and hoping more to there actually being something to it. I think the both of these leaks together could have something there. Like,
Yeah.
I think one of them being like I think the Jungle Jewels or the Cinder Citadel. I don't think either of them could be the thing. If I were leaning towards one, it'd be the Cinder Citadel because that makes more sense to me.
Right.
But I totally think the both of these, like if you mix them up, I could see an announcement being Pokemon Day, but I could see a release being spring instead of summer. I
Yeah,
could,
completely agree. I 100% agree with you right there. I think the announcement would definitely be on Pokemon Day. Like, why they're going to announce something,
yeah,
whatever it is that they're working on, whether it is the Diamond and Pearl, remakes, or it is this third DLC, or both. They could. Here's what I want. This is what I would love for Pokemon Day. Is they're just like, hey, new DLC, um, whichever one they end up showing or announcing. We get a little trailer for it, and they're like, release date is this, and then they go, right before it ends, maybe they're just like, oh, and by the way, here is Max Diamond and Max Pearl,
they just name
November
drop
20.
them. Yeah, I think it'd be sick if they just name drop them. They just drop the
Yeah,
names, don't show anything on them, no date,
exactly.
and they're just like tune into this date in the summer or something
Yep,
like that, and then they
one
talk more about
hundred
it.
percent. No,
Um,
because that sounds exactly like what the Pokemon Company and Nintendo would
yeah,
do. 100%. So I think it's a fair bet that it's going to be something along those lines.
yeah,
Now, who knows? We could be eating crow, and we could be completely wrong. Come February, what was it, 27th?
yeah, 27th,
So
yeah.
I'm very extremely hyped for February 27th now. I mean,
So
not hold on, not only because my daughter is being born like a week before that, but Pokemon. I
yeah,
love Pokemon so much.
yeah, I could totally see one of these being true. I think they have something here with the Rock Dragon type being shared. I could totally see a Rock Dragon legendary. I could see the DLC being $20. It doesn't make
Yeah,
it. It's not like it doesn't make sense. Um, the rest of the Pokedex for sure. Zarude being added, I think that's a little bit just like he's already in the game. The only way to get him was if you saw the movie in Japan and
right.
you got a code for it. So it's like I could see them adding it in the. I don't think it's added as part of the DLC. I think it's added as just a mystery gift, or like what they did with Zeraora, where it's just a raid boss that comes in.
Yeah,
So I think that's what they do. But I totally see some merit to this, and a lot of it could the possibility. But
right.
I like the Cinder Citadel more. I think daily changing ruins and castles to explore would be sick.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That'd be really, really cool.
So talking about Pokemon Day though, there's a lot of stuff randomly with this that's been talked about so far. So February 27th, I'm feeling like we get Diamond and Pearl name drops.
Yep.
I'm feeling like we possibly see a third DLC get dropped or released or announced. One of the things that they could talk about is the new Pokemon Snap or Pokemon Unite, that MOBA. So those are some there's some pretty big stuff for that. But there's another leak rumor, we'll touch on it briefly, is that they're supposed to do like the Mario collection, a Pokemon Super collection. Um
Yeah.
it says that it's going to be announced on Pokemon Day and release March 12th. So not long after, like 2 weeks after, which
Yeah.
is kind of like I could see it because didn't the Mario get announced and released like within the next couple weeks to a month?
Yeah.
So possibility,
Yeah.
not completely far off. It says it's supposed to contain somewhere between 3 to 5 games, depending on where the news is coming from or the leak is coming from. It says the three main games that are going to be on it will be X and Y, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, and Sun and Moon, not the Ultra games, the basic ones. And it says that you
Right.
could use this. This is what confuses me. It says you could use the same game and same save file, but swap to the other game. So, like, if you're playing X, you could use that same save and just hop over to Y and play it, which that doesn't make sense to me.
No.
Like, I don't see that being a thing. So I
No way.
don't know how they would do that. These would just be virtual consoles. It says there's no online for X and Y or Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, but Sun and Moon will have the same online as before.
Okay.
And then the last thing it says in here, which depending on where the leak's from, it says that Black and White and Black and White 2 will also be in the collection.
Okay. Listen, David, you and I are both Pokemon fans. We've been fans for our entire lives.
Yep.
We know that Pokemon games are still just as expensive as when they first came out. Do you really think Nintendo slash Pokemon are going to give us all of these games for like $60? No freaking way. I'm sorry. The only
Yeah.
way I can see us getting anything like this is if they do something on the Switch where, it's like a virtual console type of thing where you have to pay like 20 to $30 for each one. You get both of them, for example.
Well,
But even that's a stretch, dude. I don't know about this.
I mean, on the three, I don't think it's super far out of the realm of possibility because on the 3DS they did virtual consoles for Red and Blue, and Yellow, and then Gold, Silver, Crystal, and they were all, I think, $10 a piece.
Yeah,
I think they're 10 or 15. I think they were 10 though. If I want to lean that way.
right,
So, I mean, if that's the case, if they're only $10 a piece for a virtual console remake, that would add up to $60 for 6 games.
I
So,
guess.
I don't know though because giving you X and Y, like that's $20. Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire 40. Sun and Moon 60. So where does Black and White and Black and White 2? That's another $40 if that's the case. Um
Yeah,
I think it said also in the leak that Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire X and Y and Sun and Moon would have some sort of Pokemon home connectivity to trade to them. I
right,
don't know how you would leave out Black and White and Black and White 2 for that because that just wouldn't make sense to me. Like, why would you remake them, put them on the Switch? But it's kind of like the problem of these Pokemon are doomed to stay there forever. They can't transfer out. So whatever is in this collection, if it's true, has to be able to transfer to home. There's no way that they let you put them in there and then just they can't go anywhere. Because their whole thing with
right,
Pokemon lately has been everything could go forward. Nothing stays backwards except for the original 6 games because there's no way to transfer off the Game Boy cartridges
right.
legitimately. So I don't know. I don't think it's outside the realm of possibilities because we just got the Mario one. I mean, how many games were in the Mario remaster or remake
3,
collection? 3? 3 for
yeah.
60? Okay. So little bit that I mean that pricing makes me think Black and White and Black and White 2 won't be in this then though. I could maybe see an X and Y Omega Ruby and Sun and Moon collection maybe.
Yeah. Well, why
So,
not do like I don't know. See that's where it gets interesting because then it's like why leave out Gen 5?
yeah.
Like I feel like they're not going to want to neglect Gen 5 cuz Gen Five's great in my personal
Oh
opinion.
yeah.
Black White 2, awesome games, a lot of fun. So, why not put them in there? But then like okay. So let's say if we are doing it this way, why not just do $80? I know that's like 79.99, right? Like,
Yeah.
why not just do that then if you're going to include those 4 other games? I don't know. I mean, trust me, I want this. I would absolutely love to have a Pokemon collection on my Switch and be able
Yeah.
to play them and just switch back and forth between them at the ease, just like you can on the Mario collection. I would love that, but there's just a part of me that just says no. I don't think we're going to get this. So we'll wait until February 27th and see if we get some sort of announcement for it. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess we'll just have to play the waiting game. I want it though, David. I
I
do
if
so bad.
you had a Pokemon Super collection, let's say, and you had to pick you get both copies of the same game, what would be the 3 games you would tag in a Super collection then?
Heart Gold, Soul Silver,
Okay. Good choice.
obviously.
Yeah.
um, Ruby Sapphire. And now this one's tough because um I don't know. I guess maybe I would go black
Now
and white,
okay.
but I don't know because those 3 generations, those 3 sets of games are my favorites. That's why if I had to make the collection, those are the ones that I would get. But that's what's weird because I like black and white 2 more, but I don't think you can have a black and white 2 without
Without
black and white.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I think if they're gonna do a collection, I feel like Black and White and Black and White 2 almost have to come bundled. Like that's kind of like a complete series there. I mean, it's got that 3-year jump. It makes sense.
Yeah,
Like it's so contained so well within itself with the story that it's like you'd want it to stay together and release as a full bundle. So you get like you could just go straight from Black and White to Black and White 2. That'd be sick.
absolutely.
Um I do see some sort of credibility to this just because the fact is we have Kanto on the Switch with Let's Go. We might get it with Diamond and Pearl remake, so we might get Gen 4. We've
Right.
got Gen 8. So giving us Gen 5, 6, and 7. So we'd only be missing or 3 as well because of Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. So 5, so 3, 5, 6, and 7. We'd only be missing Gen 2, which people are thinking we might get a Let's Go Johto at some point.
Right.
What do you think about Let's Go Johto?
Well, I mean, I guess it makes sense because the Let's Go franchise, Pikachu and Eevee, did really well, and I know a lot of people liked them. Like Celtiverse in the chat, you really enjoyed Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, correct? Am I wrong in that thinking? And I know my brother enjoyed them too. Him and his daughter were able to sit down and play them together. Like that's cool. It's a great way to introduce, you know, a younger generation to or not a younger generation, a newer generation of younger kids is what I was trying to say to the Pokemon franchise. It's awesome. Uh, I personally did not play them, so I don't really have a lot to say because I haven't experienced it. But from, like I said, using Celtiverse as an example, he said the games looked awesome. He
Yeah,
liked a lot of the mechanics and stuff like that. So I could totally see them doing a Let's Go Pichu and Let's Go what Meryl
probably
maybe. Like
Meryl
I don't know.
or Togepi and Meryl or something like that.
Togepi and Meryl. Okay, let's do that one. So I could see them doing a Let's Go Togepi and Let's Go Meryl, but when? Because they have so much that's already rumored to be coming out with, the third DLC possibly coming out for Sword and Shield. We've got the potential remakes of Diamond and Pearl. We now have this potential super collection. So when and where would a Let's Go Johto fall into place?
Yeah. I think if they, let's say next year we didn't get Diamond and Pearl remakes and we got Let's Go
Right.
Johto, I think that would bum a lot of people out.
Oh yeah.
I think there are so many hardcore main series fans. There are a lot that didn't like the Let's Go games, and I think that's primarily because the motion control. I think
Yeah.
the Let's Go games aren't bad. I think they're super great because they got that couch co-op feature where you could tag someone in and you could do double battles, which is cool. I would love to see that get implemented on and be online co-op to where both
Yeah.
people have a team of 6 instead of sharing that same team of 6 and you go around together on a journey. Um I would love to see if they did more Let's Go. I wouldn't be opposed to them taking away or giving you the option of motion control. Because
Yeah.
that's my biggest gripe with it is I don't like motion control, so it makes it really hard to go through the games.
Right.
But they're great starter games. They're easier in some regards than probably the original games. They look good. Having everything in the 3D overworld spawning is sick. They've been doing that more with Sword and Shield, so it's like if they built off of Sword and Shield and off of the original Let's Go and made a better Let's Go, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I agree completely.
so the only thing is if I see another Johto remake, it's kind of like, can you just 3D and HD the Heart Gold and Soul Silver games, please? Like, can
Thank
I just
you.
get that instead of Let's Go? Like, I would
Yeah.
hate to get Let's Go over an updated version of Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Well, that's kind of how I feel about it too, because there's so much more in Gen 2 than there was Gen 1. Because in Gen 2,
Yeah,
you go back to Gen 1. Like,
yeah.
I,
I
I just feel like that's a lot
I
for that
think
style of gameplay.
I think that's the definitive reason why people like Heart Gold and Soul Silver so much is you have 16 gyms. You have the
Yes.
ending battle with Red, 2 full
Yep.
regions to explore, and then after that you get all of the Gen 3 and 4 legendary stuff that you get to go hunt in the post game too, like Kyogre, Groudon, Rayquaza. If you have the event Arceus, you get a level 1 Dialga, Palkia, or Garantina. Like there's so much to do there with legendaries, and there's so much more they can implement if they did like a story with like the Ultra Beast or more legendaries from Gen 5, 6, or 7 that they could, or
Oh
8
yeah.
that they could throw in. There's so much you could do there that I would love to just see an even better version like that. But an open world Johto and Kanto together would be really cool if they did it either way, in the Sun and Moon style or the Let's Go style. Like I think it'd be sick to see all those environments in 3D.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. 100%.
all right. We'll round this off with one more thing here. The last possible rumor for next year, Gen 9.
Oh baby.
So this is what I'm assuming if they do a Gen 9 in this aspect, there's probably no third DLC, no Diamond and Pearl remakes. That's probably where I'm thinking with this aspect. And then the following year we'll probably get like Let's Go Johto or something like that to make it something easier. But rumors with this one is that Gen 9, whether it be next year or the year after, would be the definitive Pokemon experience for the foreseeable future. It'll be have a single player story. It's being made with a heavy emphasis on online multiplayer with this with a continuing games as a service model. So like Destiny or anything like those. It says there will be 3 versions at launch. Each version determines which exclusive Pokemon will be available, and also what starter Pokemon you will receive and what part of the region you will the story will start in. Um, it's in Adriatic and Ionian seas. I think it's over there with both Greek and Roman influences. Will be completely open world with a free roaming camera like the current wild area. Um, You could change. You can challenge the 8 gyms in any order, with the entire game scaling based on the badges you have. So gym leaders and NPCs have their teams and levels scale based on how many badges you have. So it's like if you face, like, let's say in Kanto, Brock as your 8th gym leader, he's gonna have a team of 6 instead of like Geodude and Onyx.
Yeah.
So kind of cool. I think that's something a lot of people want in general. Um, it says all regions from Kanto to Alola will eventually be available as DLC expansions, with Galar being accessible immediately in the post game. So you
Okay.
get Gen 9 and Galar like as your post game, so you get 2 right off the bat. Um, Sonia will be Galar's professor with Hop as her assistant, which kind of makes sense with how
Yeah.
Sword and Shield lead to. Uh, Bidet, Bede, what was his name? The weird pink-haired guy.
I'm playing through it again, like I said earlier, and I still don't know. Is it Bebe, BD,
BD.
Baby? Like I
I'll go
don't
with
know.
BD. BD, Marnie, Milo, Nessa, Kabu, Raihan will all return as gym leaders, with Clara and Avery, 2 people from Isles of Armor, replacing either Bay, Alistair, or Gordy and Melanie. These 8 can be challenged in any order as well, like it said prior. Um, Not all Pokemon available at launch, like Gen 8. Pokemon will be
Okay.
added in each expansion, the Sinnoh region being the first planned expansion, meaning no Diamond and Pearl remakes.
Okay.
Mega Evolution and Z moves, Dynamaxing, Gigantamaxing will all return, with D-Max and G-Max still being limited to certain areas and situations. Grass Starter will be a pony whose final evolution is a Pegasus like Pokemon with grass and electric typing. The,
Interesting.
the Water Starter will be a snake whose final evolution is a Hydro like Pokemon, being water poison type. Firestarter will be a baby eagle whose final evolution is a griffin like Pokemon with fire and flying typing. Um, and the legendary will be a bug dragon typing. Oh, also it says the game will feature more Pokemon Go integration, with the ability to move Pokemon back and forth between the games via home for select features, more like having more than just having a Pokemon inside a Pokeball, like the current features from Sword and Shield to
Okay.
um, those. So, uh, one thing I want to talk about real quick with the fire starter is the fire starters have been following that. I think it's Chinese zodiac with the animals so far.
Okay.
Um, so far the animals that are missing are an ox, a snake, a horse, and a sheep. So they're saying this is an eagle. There's no eagle on the zodiac.
Okay.
So, but they said the water starter is a snake, and the grass is a pony. So if this is legitimate, is there a chance that maybe they have the typing switched, and one of
Yeah,
those is
it
true
could
to
be.
fire? Like that could lean to this. Like, I mean, there's a chance that they just scrapped the whole idea of that zodiac that people are just thinking they're going off of. But
Right.
what what is your thoughts on this Gen 9? A lot of info all at once. What is your thoughts on it?
That's literally what I was about to say. That's a lot to soak in. I mean, a lot of it does sound really, really interesting, but and I really don't know. I'm honestly gonna have more time to stew on it before I can give you a legitimate thought process for this. Because
Yeah.
like you said, there's so much that was leaked and rumored and stuff like that. And again, take all of this with a grain of salt. None of this could be true. We don't know. We're just going off speculation. But I mean, it sounds cool. I guess in theory, like I at first when I heard about the scaling of the badges, I was kind of like, I don't really like that because I'm old school. I'm not one of those guys that like change really, to be honest with you. I like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it sort of thing. That's why I was
Yeah,
glad that with Sword and Shield we went back to the traditional 8 badges instead of what you have in Sun and Moon.
yeah.
Like that threw me for such a loop that it kind of was just like, I don't like it. I want my badges sort of thing. So getting those back in Sword and Shield made me happy. Going off the beaten path and kind of doing your own thing, it's weird to me. I'm very linear when it comes to video games. I like having a linear progression. I've always kind of just enjoyed that, but I think it could be interesting. I like the fact that the gym leaders would be people from other games. I think that's really interesting. Um, Bringing Cynthia back, awesome. So down for her. I enjoy Cynthia a lot. I think she's one of my favorite champions. So for her to be the professor, that's what you were saying, correct?
No, the professor for this would be for Galar only. This wouldn't be for the main game. It'd be Sonia.
Oh,
She's the red-haired girl in Sword and Shield.
right.
The professor's granddaughter, I think, is what she is. So she would
Gotcha.
take over as the new professor when you go to Galar in these games, and then
Okay,
Hop
that would
would be
make
her
sense. So
assistant.
okay,
So
gotcha. Never mind. So yeah, there's just so much. It's kind of hard to keep everything,
yeah,
in one coherent thought. So I do apologize for that. I mean, yeah, why not? That's what I'm gonna say. I can be very open minded to it. It's Pokemon. I'm going to give it a shot no matter what. Day one, minute one purchase, no matter what. So I guess really all I have to say is let's wait and see. I mean, let's see what the Pokemon Company has to offer and show us next
yeah.
year. I definitely think we're going to get something, whether it is a new gen or Diamond Pearl.
I,
Obviously, we're going to get something. There's always some sort of something every year. What are your thoughts, though? I'm
I
really curious.
I think that the games as a service model for Pokemon could work.
Yeah,
It's a high has a very high success rate. The problem is with it though is this is a game about making money. Like Pokemon is a cash cow. To make it to where they release like it says they were gonna release 3 games on launch, which seems weird.
yeah,
Definitely seems weird that they would do that because 3 games on launch with the version exclusives being split between 3 games, like it's already there's not very many Pokemon split between 2 games now, but that's an extra game worth of version exclusives that they have to make.
yeah.
So that makes me think 3 games is like weird. Why is this here? I feel like 2 games would make more sense, especially with like how they say depending on what starter you get. So it's like what is 1 game the fire starter, 1 game's the grass, and 1 game's the water. That just seems so weird that you don't get a
Yeah, I don't like that.
choice. Like I don't know unless they're saying they're gonna introduce like 9 starters, and depending on what area of the region you start with, like or maybe one of those sets of starters is like Kanto or like Johto, like that would make a little bit of sense. Like if you start like let's say game 3 you start in the uppermost north corner of the map or north portion of the map and you get like let's say Sinnoh starters or something. I don't
Right.
I don't see that. I think that's a little bit like of a rough stretch. Um but yeah, so like games as a service though, it makes me think like when they release Pokemon games, they release 2 at a time. They're $60 and most people buy them for $120. And then the following year, they release 2 more games, whether that be the next games like Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire or Ultra Sun and Moon being like the definitive versions of the games, which they said they don't want to do anymore because they wanted to do DLC like what they did with Sword
Yeah.
and Shield. So that makes me a little bit like, okay, well, if they don't want to do the third DLC or the third game, like with Sword and Shield, they did a DLC. The DLC was $30. That's half the price of the actual game. So they're losing money in that aspect. But then again, though, if most people bought both Sword and Shield, they bought DLCs for both games. That's $60. That's the price of the third game there. So it's like they're still getting their money.
Oh, for sure.
So, but if they only, let's say they released every DLC as like, unless they did these as $60 expansions, which they could do,
Yeah.
like it's hard for me to see them being like, all right, here's the game. You get Generation 9, post game is Gen 8. Here's Gen 4 as the first DLC. It's going to be $30. Like I don't see that. Here's
No.
Gen 4 as $60 or $40. A little bit more possibility there.
I
Um,
could see. I can't see the $60 price point, but $40 I could totally see
yeah.
100% them doing.
The other problem I have with this though is this game would get big fast.
100%.
If it's 3D and they have every region in, which people have been asking for a while, an all region game. But Nintendo and Game Freak and the Pokemon Company keep seeing like they just kind of laugh off that idea. They're like, oh, we don't want to, or it's impossible, or whatever their reasoning is. For them to want to do it now is kind of weird. But games as a service seems to be moving in more the direction we're getting with games lately, anyways.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's impossible. I think it's really cool though, especially if the game has Mega, Z-moves, and Dynamax and Gmax. Like that's another cool thing. Like everything there. It seems kind of like a lot though. Like how would the competitive scene be? How would the games be? Um,
Yeah.
especially with if they have 9 regions in this game and the game's supposed to like scale, like your Pokemon cap at 100. What happens when that fourth DLC releases and all your Pokemon have been 100 for the past DLC and a half?
Right.
Like,
See, that's kind of my thinking on it too. Like, this is why I don't think this is going to be something we're going to get. There's because of what you just said.
yeah,
You're by the time you get to some of these DLC or different regions, like you said, you're going to be level 100. So,
yeah,
excuse me again. Sorry, I had to burp. My thought process would be like, why not you pay? I don't like it, but it makes sense for Pokemon. You do the 39.99 price point, $40. You get a new region. You get to pick a starter from that region,
yeah,
and you get to play through. It's like playing through that game all over again, but it's a streamlined version, sort of like when you go to Kanto at the end of in like Heart Gold Soul Silver. It's not a full fledged, like thought out, like version of Kanto. It's
yeah,
like a streamlined version. You just go and you get the 8 badges,
yeah,
sort of thing. You can catch Pokemon along the way. I think that would be a really cool idea. So you get the Gen 9, brand new, region. You have the 3 new starters, a new set for the Pokedex, like another like 50, 60 with some older Pokemon making their return, like they always do. And then 6 months after the game's release, you get the first DLC, which let's just say if they don't do a Diamond Pearl remake,
yeah.
is the Sinnoh.
They're saying it's Sinnoh for the first region in
Yeah,
this
so
rumor.
let's say that happens, that comes out, you pay your $40 for the new DLC, and you get to pick the 3 starters, and you get to go through Sinnoh and stuff like that. But it's like a streamlined version. But at the same time, I don't know because then
Yeah,
it's you're not getting that full experience.
yeah, because it like I mean, like in going from Johto to Kanto and Heart Gold and Soul Silver or Gold and Silver, you get to go in with your current Pokemon. You're pretty much going to be around that 50, 60, 40 range when you go into Kanto. And Kanto, I think the gyms cap out at like maybe 50, 60 at most. So
Yeah,
it's like I said again though, if you go to Galar off the second, like if it's in the game as the post game and you go to Galar right off the beginning, you'd be at that 40, 50, 60 mark when you're hitting Galar. So going into
yeah.
Sinnoh as the third game, you're going to be 100 at the end of it. There's no way you're
Oh,
not 100. The only way I could think of is they do the anime approach and they make you go in with nothing. Like you go to that region and they give you the starter and they're like, hey, you're the champion of whatever Gen 9's region is. Welcome to Sinnoh. Here's your new starter. Go at it again and let's see if you can become the champion here with nothing. But after you beat the league for the first time, that's where the game unlocks as like a post game route where you get to use your previous Pokemon. Or maybe they level cap it. Like once you go in, you could only bring in Pokemon level 10 and lower. So like you could breed a new, let's say, Dragonite or whatever and take it
yeah.
into Sinnoh, but it starts as a level 5 or 1 Dratini. You can't bring in your level 60 Dragonite
Right.
from Galar. You have to bring in a new thing. So it's like I could see that, but would some people get irritated by not being able to bring their team exactly from Galar straight to Sinnoh or whatever?
I don't know, man. I think people are just asking for too much.
Yeah.
I think it is too much to be able to go through and hit all of these regions at once. Like it's just not feasible anymore because we're so far out now with like you said, 900 Pokemon. Like it's too much.
Yeah.
Why? Like I don't want it. I don't want to be able to do that. I like these just single linear progressions through this brand new region and stuff like that. You become the champion, and then this game has its own set of Wi-Fi battling and stuff like that, and competitive play and stuff. Like I enjoy that in the way they've been doing that. But I mean, that's just me. Like I said, I'm kind of stuck in my ways. I personally don't want Gen 9 yet. I want
Yeah.
Diamond and Pearl. That's to me, that's the future of Pokemon for 2021 is Diamond and Pearl remakes
Yeah.
with the I don't want the collection. I don't think I want that either. I think I'd rather take the third deals. But that's my opinion.
Yeah. I think for me as well, I think this game's as a service idea for Gen 9 and everything all region game. I think I would want it, but I don't want it next. Like if they gave me this in like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, I think that'd be a good time frame because then they get to work on it more. I think it's too early for this. I don't think this would be ready. I mean, typically Pokemon games, I think they work on them for like 3 to 4 years before they even come out. But I still think this is too early for this. I think this would need a little bit more shelf time. Um, so I mean, I'm in the same boat as you. I would love a third DLC for Sword and Shield. Continue that game a little bit more. Maybe finish off as much of the Pokedex as you can, and then Diamond Pearl remakes. Um, and then the Super Collection is cool. I think I would want it just to get more regions on the Switch, but
Yeah.
I don't know how they would do that whole dual screen feature with the DS games on the Switch, though. That'd be a little weird. So it's like
Yeah.
I feel like those might need a little bit more time like for that. But I don't know. I think I would be down for all three, but I think Gen 4 remakes and third DLC is the preferred right now though. What I would love to see.
Yeah.
What I,
Real quick, I just want to
what's up?
say I like how I said I wouldn't really want the Pokemon, Super Collection. Let's be real. Of course I would want it. I'm gonna buy it, but I would rather have the third DLC and then Diamond Pearl
I
remakes.
I think a super collection's cool, but I think I would rather them just do what they did with the virtual console games on the 3DS. Just release
Yeah.
them, just do Diamond or just do like Black and White and then Black and White 2. Just release them at one time, make them all individual games, and just give that Pokemon Home support for them and just slowly release them that way instead. Just because it's like the 3DS, I think, just recently got discontinued,
Yep.
so you're not going to really see them that much anymore. So these games and systems are probably going to go up in price even more
Yeah.
now. So with that, it's like there's going to be a whole generation of kids growing up now that will never touch a 3DS, which is
Yeah.
kind of weird to think. But
Oh yeah.
there'll be a group of kids now that are growing up without it, and they're going to grow up with the Switch as their first console. So it's like get as much Pokemon on that system as possible is not a bad thing. So either
Right.
either virtual console or super collection, either way, I think it's gonna happen, and sooner the better, as long as they're like good quality and not like
Right.
bad
Yeah.
quality ports. So I'm down for all of it. I think all of it in the rumor leak list, whatever you want to call it. I think all of it's super cool. I think Gen 4 is the most excited though, just because I want those. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, anything else you wanna, anything like any other wants and wishes for next year? Or
No, I think that pretty much covers it. I'm just excited. I More Pokemon's always great. No matter in what form. I'm just excited.
yeah, true, true. I am as well. All right, well then I guess this is gonna be it for this week. So if
Yep.
you did enjoy the podcast, wherever you're at, my channel, Andrew's channel, what's your YouTube for anyone that in here that doesn't know that's watching this on my channel?
So you can go to youtube.com and search Big Boy Little Boy, and we will be one of the first ones to pop up. This will be live. This is being recorded right now at 10:15. The VOD will be up on Monday. I don't know that date, but by the time you're watching this, you're already watching it live. But yeah, just Big Boy Little Boy over on YouTube, and then also too, just by searching Big Boy Little Boy on Spotify, you will also find this. The podcast version will be up tomorrow on 10:16. So
Yep. And then you could watch us live on Twitch at Big Boy, uh, twitch.com/Big Boy Little Boy, right? Or is it
twitch.tv slash Big
twitch.tv?
Boy Little Boy.
Wow. See, I'm a streaming noob. I want to get into this, but I'm a noob at it.
You're
But yeah,
great.
and then
You're
my
good.
channel as well, youtube.com/dwolfgaming, or I might start doing it on Twitch, but we'll get into that later if I ever do it.
Yep.
So depending on where you're at, leave a like down below, subscribe if you liked it. Yeah, and then we'll see you next time on Gotta Cast 'Em All.
Bye.